Hello everyone, I hope you are all doing well. It's Colleen and I'm back at it again with another video. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to make these super cute origami paper frogs. They're pretty easy and you can make them in any size or color or shape that you want. And they're really fun because you get to play with them. You can make them jump, so that's really cool. All you're going to need is a piece of paper, and the piece of paper I'm using only has color on one side, but you can use like normal printer paper. That's what I did for this white frog, and I just colored him in. But you can also use any type of paper you want. I have a pattern paper for this little purple guy, but yeah, they're really nice. They're super tiny. You can make them really tiny. You can make them really big, whatever you want. But what's cool about them is you can make them jump. And so I like to try and land them on things and see how far they can move. So yeah, let's get to it. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to take your piece of paper and you're going to make sure it is in the shape of a square. If your paper is a rectangle or some other shape, fear not. All you got to do is fold in a corner and make sure that both sides of the corner are even so that you can cut along them and you have a pretty much perfect square. And you can always alter it after you cut it. So you just cut along the lines and boom, you've got yourself a perfect square. So now that we have this square piece of paper, if you haven't folded it diagonally already from corner to corner, like we did to make the square, you're going to want to do that now. So just fold it diagonally so it forms two triangles when you unfold it. And then when you're done with that, fold it diagonally in the opposite direction so that you can have, when you unfold it, you have an X shape. So it has four triangles. Make sure you get a really good crease when you're forming these folds because it is going to be super important later. It'll definitely pay off once we start putting together the body of the frog. Once you've got those folds done, what you're going to do is fold the paper in half, hot dog style, so that you can form a nice crease right in the middle of the X you just formed. It should look kind of like a snowflake when you unfold it. And it should have about 6 triangles. Now, after that, you're going to fold it in half the other direction so that it makes like a plus sign with the line you just folded. Make sure the crease is really good, and when you open it up, you should have 8 triangles total. And it should look a little something like this. Alright, here's where things get tricky, but I promise it'll be worth it. So you see these lines that I'm pointing at? So those diagonal lines we're going to focus on. They kind of make that triangle with the bottom edge of the paper. What you're going to want to do is fold along those lines until the very center of the paper. So don't go all the way to the other corner. Fold along that line right to the center and then stop there and just hold that. And so you'll do that on either side, the left and the right of that triangle nearest you. So just fold along that side and then fold on the other side, and you'll fold them both at the same time, kind of like this, so that you have a triangle that is flat on the table like this. So now what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take this kind of goofy looking flap up here and you're going to just push it down. The sides of the paper should fold in when you do this. And you should just kind of crease along the other triangle that was on the top of the paper. And it should form a double layered triangle like this. This is kind of a hard move and definitely takes some practice. So if it doesn't work the first time, that is totally okay. Just try again, but eventually you should be able to get something that looks like this. So when we're looking at this, we can kind of tell that it's got like this double layered kind of thing going on here. And this is really important because for these next steps, we're only going to be working with one layer at a time. So we're going to focus on this top layer right now, and we're going to start forming the back of the frog. So for the back of the frog, you want to look at this crease right in the middle of this triangle. And what you want to do is on either side, you want to take this bottom edge of the paper and line it up with that center crease and bring the corner of the triangle to the top corner of the triangle, like so. And it'll kind of form like a mini triangle, like that, which is pretty cool. And you're going to want to do that on either side. So just bring the side corner up to the top corner and make sure that the bottom edge aligns with that center crease. So now what we're going to do we've made these two mini triangles essentially. We're going to make them even smaller. We're going to fold them in half pretty much. So what's going to happen is, starting with one triangle at a time, what we're going to do is we want to bring this outer edge of the triangle and fold it into this new crease that we just made, right, kind of like towards the center. So essentially just folding the triangle in half like this. And it should look a little something like this. So now we're going to take that bottom edge of the paper and we're going to bring it up towards that middle crease again that we started off folding it up. So we're going to just fold it along that crease that we formed initially. Just fold it right up so that it aligns right along the center crease of the big triangle, like so. And we're going to do that on the other side as well. And once you've finished those, you should pretty much be done with the back of your frog. It should look a little something like this. So let's move on. Alright, so right now we're going to work on the legs. We're almost there, guys. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these outer edges of the triangle, and what we want to do is we're going to bring them in to this center crease that we kind of worked with on the top side of the frog as well. So just bring this edge right to the middle like so. Make sure it's pretty even. Make sure you get a good crease on it too, so we have strong frog legs for our origami frog friends. And you're going to do that on either side, so make sure that you fold that outer edge in and make a really nice crease on it. And once you're done, it should kind of look like a tent, like this. So our frog's got legs, but what's a frog without some feet? What we're going to do is we're going to make some feet. So we kind of have these legs going on here, and they've got the center corner going on, and we just want to fold that center corner of the triangle outward. It doesn't have to be too far out. It doesn't have to be too big of a triangle. Just make sure you fold it outward so that it's kind of like the toes are pointing out of the frog. And it makes like a little doorway to the tent that we just folded. And you're going to want to do that on either side. I try to make mine as even as I can get. Sometimes it's not always super easy to get it even, but do your best to try and make each little door to the tent that we just folded as even as you can. And it should look a little something like this. We are almost there, guys. If you flip it over, we've basically got a frog, but here's the thing. It won't jump. So we got to work on that. So let's flip our frog over. You see that little spot where our triangles that we just folded kind of meet? What we're going to want to do is we're going to fold right along like that line. Imagine there's a line right there. Just fold right at that spot. And we're going to essentially fold our frog in half. And then what we're going to do after that is we're going to fold the part we just folded in half once again, so that the feet are pointing back behind it. And make sure you have a really good crease on this so that your frog holds its bounceability. Pretty important. But make sure its feet are pointing back. If you look at it from a side view, it kind of makes like a Z shape. That's how you know you did it right. And you're going to want to push that Z back so that it's kind of just like a bunch of layers on top of each other when you make the frogs jump. And you're just going to push your finger along the back of it and pull away, and that'll make the frog jump. The higher up on the frog that you fold, the higher the frog is going to jump when you play with it, versus if it's lower, it's not going to jump as high, but you have more control of like how far it goes. So now you've got your finished frog, and you can decorate them like I did. I like to give mine eyes. And you can, if it's some sort of printer paper, you can always draw on them, make them real fancy. It's a lot of fun, spice it up. Yeah, decorate them to your heart's content. Maybe if you have better decorations, they'll jump higher. I don't know. It might be a scientifically proven fact. You got to test it out. So, yeah. And then you can tell which one's yours too if you're competing against people. Now that you've got your frog, practice making it jump and maybe even try some trick shots. If you come up with a really cool trick shot, feel free to post a video on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, and make sure to tag us for a chance to be featured on our page. As always, guys, stay creative and stay safe. See you in the next video.